9 News Plus weather sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi on this beautiful Tuesday morning, March the 21st, our first full day of spring. And it certainly feels that way if you're stepping outside in the Denver area and really throughout most of the state. We're a bit of an in-between storm system sort of track right now, but in the mountains, things will really pick back up in terms of that snowfall later on today for us here in Denver. We do increase those clouds a little bit, but it will stay dry for the remainder of our Tuesday. Now you can see those clouds increasing for us here into the high country. This is, of course, on the right-hand side of your screen, the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels and Loveland ski area on the left, and I-70 traffic moving smoothly, though that may change a little bit later on tonight as we do have some snow that'll move its way into the picture. Now, as far as the metro area is concerned, we do have a little bit of light cloud cover overhead, mostly mid to high level cloud cover. Not a big deal, certainly not nearly as cloudy as it was throughout most of the day yesterday, but those clouds are going to really thicken on up as we get through the latter part of the afternoon into the early evening hours, and that will lead to some of that snow for us into the high country, but for us here in Denver, it's just going to stay a little bit on the cloudy side as we head through the remainder of our Tuesday. Overall headlines, we do increase those clouds for us, as I mentioned this afternoon, but it's a pretty mild day for us here in town. We'll probably get near 60 degrees for us in the Denver area. Then mountain snow picks back up tonight. A bit of a lull right now in the action for us into the high country. And by the way, get used to it here, folks. It is going to be a really, really snowy week for us into the high country, especially as it gets south and west. The San Juans, the snow machine will just not shut off until probably Sunday or Monday of next week. So it's a long-lived snow event. Got an atmospheric river that's just kind of parked overhead, and that's going to keep us on the snowy side. Meantime, Eastern Plains already a few spots into the 50s. Denver at 50 degrees at DIA, 60 in Springfield and Baca County in southeastern Colorado, and it's the high country, a lot of 20s and 30s with a bit more cloud cover, and of course that added elevation helping that out. So for today, temperatures will rise near 60 degrees for us here in Denver, mild and nice overall. And again, that cloud cover will thicken on up gradually as we head through the afternoon, though again, we should have a couple more hours of mostly sunny skies for us across the Front Range. Now, as again to the high country, this is going to be for tonight and tomorrow. Winter weather advisories from I-70 on north, south of I-70. We're looking at winter storm warnings in red, and in some cases, especially as you get into the eastern San Juans, we might see as much as 4 to 5 feet worth of snowfall by the time this week is over and done with. So Wolf Creek Pass, do not go over that tonight, as it is going to be a very, very dicey ride with a lot of heavy snow moving its way in that direction. Red Mountain Pass looks difficult. Monarch Pass also looking difficult in terms of some of those key passes. Even McClure Pass and some of the other small passes you get, smaller passes, Cottonwood Pass, as you get on up into the Maroon Bells, those also look like tricky drives tonight and to early tomorrow morning. And again, those winter weather advisors from I-70 on north, it will be a bit slick at times. Berthoud and Rabbit Ears Pass for us as well. HD Doppler radar shows some of that snow, mostly lighter snow moving its way into southwest Colorado, but look off towards the west, and boy, oh boy, the real deal is out here into California, Utah, Arizona, yet another atmospheric river. And one thing, Lisa's weather nerd, that is fascinating to pick out. Look at that off of the San Francisco coastline. That is a little swirl. That is a spin. Very intense area low pressure. Almost looks like a hurricane just off the California coastline. And that is due to just a really strong area low pressure that is located literally just to the west of downtown San Francisco, California right now. And that same system moves its way into our direction tonight, and that's going to lead to some of that intense snowfall for us into the San Juans in particular, but also the Swatch Mountains, the West Elks, as well as on down into the Rio Grande River, Rio Grande Mountains, where you see a fair bit of snowfall in that direction as well. So tonight, as I mentioned, once we get to about 5, 6 o'clock, that snow will really pick on up into the San Juans and spread north into the I-70 mountains, and later on this evening, some of that snow spreads its way into far northern Colorado, including the Parks, the Elk Heads, the Gores, the Front Range Mountains as well. And by 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight, most of the mountains looking at heavy snowfall. That snow continues throughout most of the night, and by tomorrow morning, it's still really snowing across basically all of the mountains here into the high country. I-25 on east, womp womp, not much doing for us along the urban corridor. May get a stray rain or snow shower late tomorrow night, early Thursday morning. We do get a cold front that moves its way through tomorrow afternoon as well. But the storm in the eastern plains, I'll get to this in the next few minutes, it will be more of the wind for us for a day tomorrow, but we mostly get left out from all of this snowfall that we've been talking about for the last little while. Snowfall amounts, keep in mind this is just through Friday morning. We've got, again, storm after storm after storm that's going to move its way in our direction over the next 5-6 days or so. So this is not by any stretch of the imagination all the snow that we're going to see this week, but pretty good idea about what we can expect. In some cases, over a foot of snow as you get into the San Juans, and a widespread 6 to 8 inches of snow for us along the I-70 mountains as well as points south there. Tonight, temperatures drop down into the upper 20s. Totally different situation for us here in Denver, where it's mostly sunny, mostly calm for us. And again, those temperatures drop down into the upper 20s for us. And it also looks like we'll be seeing those mostly cloudy skies stick around through the evening. Now for tomorrow, temperatures top out in the mid-50s with a rain, snow shower chance for us here into the urban corridor. And I think it's going to be mainly tomorrow night where we have that chance for, again, rain or snow. I think tomorrow ends up being mostly cloudy more than anything else. We just kind of get a fair bit of that cloud cover, kind of similar to yesterday, where it was just mostly cloudy. We didn't see a ton of rain or snow, but we might see a few flakes, a few raindrops, and probably a slightly better chance at rain or snow tomorrow night compared to yesterday. But again, it's not a big deal. We're not going to be talking about any sort of snow accumulations. Any rain we get would be maybe a few raindrops on the windshield, and that's pretty much all she wrote. For tomorrow, 50s, 60s for most of us on the eastern plains. A little bit of a tricky temperature forecast as we do have a front moving its way on through, so that'll determine just how warm we get. One thing to also note for our friends in southeast Colorado along and south of Palmer Divide, we are going to have some fairly high fire danger. I would anticipate some red flag warnings coming out for that part of the state for tomorrow, because we will be talking about warm temperatures, a very dry air mass, and some very gusty winds. And speaking of those winds, here's a look at the high wind watch for tomorrow. Again, this is south of the Palmer Divide. This does not include Denver, but we will be maybe seeing a bit of a decent breeze tomorrow in town. It's, again, south of the Divide, El Paso County on south, and especially Highway 50 on south, where you could see as you get on up into the wet mountains and kind of the lee-facing slopes, kind of the east-facing slopes of the wet mountains, as well as on north to the kind of Rampart Range. That area, some gusts that could get on up into the 90-mile-an-hour range. As you get east from most of the plains, closer to 60, 70-mile-an-hour gusts for the day tomorrow. But again, that could quickly spread any sort of fire that starts. So, of course, avoid any outdoor burning tomorrow across the eastern plains, and that does include in the Denver area. Tomorrow's not a good day to have any sort of outdoor burnings. We will be still looking at pretty breezy conditions and elevated fire concerns for us in the metro area for our day tomorrow. So for tomorrow afternoon, again, those winds, they're gonna be ripping out there on the southeast plains. It's gonna be a windy day. No doubt about it. Those gusts could get on up into that 70-mile-an-hour range as you get east of I-25, as you get west of 25, Levada Pass on north. Could see some of those gusts maybe getting closer to 80, 90 miles an hour in a few spots. But the good news is, at least for the Denver area, we mostly miss out on those strong winds, 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, topping up probably late tomorrow morning. And then those winds really die on down pretty quickly by Thursday. Those winds are on the calm side. So you might be wondering why it is just so persistently snowy across the mountains. I mentioned how it's probably not going to stop snowing for longer than 12 to maybe 18 hours across the mountains for basically the next week. Reason being, you're looking at it. The jet stream is firmly planted over Colorado. When we get this sort of setup, we're tapping into all those atmospheric rivers that are getting California. That moisture just basically gets shoved into Colorado and northern New Mexico. And again, that jet stream, it is parked. I mean, it's literally moved into park, and as a result of that, this jet stream pattern means that the mountains are going to get just walloped with snow for the next 5, 6, 7 days, especially the San Juans. And we're not going to get any sort of prolonged break for us here into the mountains. Meantime, in Denver, this sort of pattern means we get those downsloping winds, those drying winds, and we get shut out from any big storms. We want, if you want front range storms, by the way, going back to this for a quick second, what you generally want is you want a bit more of a wavier jet stream pattern, not one so consistent and not so straight. You want one with a bit more in the way of some dips and the jet stream pattern to get more front range snowfall. So worth noting that that's why here along the front range, we're mostly missing out on that snow. Again, we're getting downsloping winds, and that's going to keep us mostly dry over the next little while. 7-day forecast for us here along the urban corridor. I'll say this forecast probably has a bit more, probably looks a bit more ominous than it probably is. Again, tomorrow night, we get a few raindrops in the windshield, maybe a few flakes as you get above 6,000 feet. No accumulation, not a big deal. This would be after dark tomorrow, and that's pretty much it. So that's what you see with that rain snowflake for tomorrow. Friday, maybe a few raindrops again. And then Saturday night and Sunday, this looks to be the best chance, I'm putting that in quotation marks, best chance at seeing some snow for us here along the Front Range. But again, this is at best a light snow event for us here into the urban corridor. It does look like it's going to last a little while, so that might be the bit of good news if you're hoping for snow, is that we should get 24, 36 hours of cloudy skies and some light snow overhead for us for Saturday night through Sunday and early Monday. But in terms of accumulations, it's just not going to be probably that big of a deal. We might be talking about 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches of long-lived snow. So kind of that meteorological dandruff setup where you just kind of get those light flakes over 24, 36 hours. That's what it looks like for the end of this weekend. That can always change, so stay with us. We'll keep you posted the latest on it. But, I was just showing you that 7-day forecast, and you see a lot of rain drops, a lot of snowflakes, a lot of chances for some light rain and light snow, and the best of those being on Sunday. And even to me, it looks like snow, big deal. Now, this is the good news. Snowpack here across the state, it has really, really improved, especially for us into the eastern, I should say the southern part of the state. The San Juan's third best snowpack to date on record. And I'll tell you what, by the end of this week, I would bet a lot of money that they're going to be at number 1 by the end of this week. Don't actually go out and bet. I don't think you can bet on that sort of thing, but don't actually do it. But trust me, that snowpack number, these numbers are just going to get a huge boost as we head through the week. Because again, that consistent snowfall, even the Arkansas River Basin at the beginning of the month, I was just looking at this, they were about 75% of their season to date snowpack. They're now at about 90%. So we've seen some really notable and worthwhile improvements on snowpack. One area where we are lagging a little bit would actually be here along the Front Range. Again, these storms have mostly left the Front Range alone, getting some snow on the western side of the South Platte River Basin, but most of that snowpack is staying in southern Colorado at this point. I know there are some holes within some of this. I've gotten some anecdotal reports from the Vail area, from St. Mary's Glacier, that the snow season has been that great. Again, these are over a wide area of real estate, so not everybody sees the snow. Some areas may even have below average snowpack, but as a basin and what feeds into those rivers and those reservoirs, we've had a really good season. Final note I'll leave you with, we are, of course, now in our first full day of spring, and the 7 stages of a Colorado spring. Well, hey, I'm a big Rockies fan, so we can all make fun of them a little bit, right? We all know that we're a few weeks away from the Rockies being eliminated from playoff contention, which really gets us into the thick of spring. Then we get into the landspout, then we get the snowstorm, and then next thing you know, we're right there into Broncos training camp. So top line takeaways in terms of that forecast. For us here along the Front Range, it's a pretty calm day today. Tomorrow we get those winds that kick up, and especially for the southeast plains, could see some elevated fire concerns and some pretty gusty winds as well. Temperatures 50s for us for today, and tomorrow will be a little cooler as the front moves its way on through. That'll knock back temperatures a little bit. Little rain and snow possible tomorrow night. Not a big deal. Into the mountains, the snow picks up tonight, and it's going to snow heavily overnight tonight and to tomorrow morning. Then we get another break. Then we get another storm on Thursday. Then we get another break. Then we get another storm Friday night. And in the mountains, that snow machine does not shut off until early next week. So if you're hoping to do some late season skiing and snowboarding, you're probably loving this. But if you're traveling through the mountains, keep in mind that travel is going to be very difficult over the next little while. So hopefully that gives you a good idea about what to expect as we head over the next few days. Meteorologist Greg Perez will have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon, and also at 2 p.m. right here on 9 News Plus. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5, and Meteorologist Lauren Robinson is in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News Family Networks. Also, little programming note for you as well. I will have an update specifically about that snowpack. I was just talking about all those snowpack numbers. I'm gonna have more details on that right here on 9 News Plus live at 12:30 today. So coming up at 12:30, I will have all sorts of facts and figures, and also why it's been such a snowy season for us here across Colorado. And it's been certainly an interesting winter. Let's leave it at that. So again, that's coming up at 12:30 as well. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.